What's your story?
To my younger self, what's your
To
story?
my younger self.
To 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 my younger self. What's your story? To my younger self. What's your story?
Well, hello and good morning. Good morning. How is everyone doing? It is so good to see you. If you are already here watching, I want you to say good morning to me, say good afternoon to me, say good night, good evening, wherever you are in the world, especially if you are African, we want to hear from you. It is so wonderful to see you. Of course, the show is To My Younger Self. My name is Zoe Baraka. And the segment for today is Author's Corner, like we always do. Okay, so let's do the way we do on To My Younger Self. Go into the comment section and say good morning to me, good afternoon. Tell me where you are watching us from. We're gonna have a lot of fun today. Yeah, I'm very excited because you are about to meet one of the most incredible people on the planet Earth today. Okay, great people have come and gone, and most likely great people will come and later in the future. But this woman today, in my opinion, is one of actually she is an incredible person, and I'm not going to um, you know uh, just go into it yet. First, let us greet each other from all places all around Africa. Salahadin, how are you? I hope you're doing well, my brother. Thank you so much for joining us. For everyone else, please, when you come in, greet us in your local dialect, okay? Alrighty. So where are you watching us from? We do want to hear from you. Alrighty. Baraka da Zoa to you. Sanunku da Zoa Yaya de Kakwana Lafia. I hope you slept well. It is good to see you. I just greeted you in Hausa, which apparently is one of the oldest languages in the world, really. Our viewers on YouTube, I greet you, I greet you, I greet you also. Ya ken tuma fuduwa tuma awela. I'm greeting you in the Kosal dialect. So good to see you. Indina to you. Wezo, leke efwa. It is good to see you. If you speak Ewe, you're from the Volta region of Ghana. I am greeting you. I'm greeting you. And saying omu to dem yamawache akwaba to you. All of the dialects, or well, not all of them, but most of the dialects of the Akan, language, I have greeted you in that also. Sawubonani to you. If you speak Zulu, all of our South African friends, we greet you, Ibio Kibari to you. If you speak Moshi, Ekaro to you, to all of our Yoruba speaking friends in Nigeria, Ekabo to you, Nagadef to you. If you speak Wolof, thank you for joining us. Jambo, Habari Gani, Oyawure to you, Habari Yawo Subwe. Thank you for joining us. Amohelang to you. Do you speak Sesotho? I am greeting you. Kotoli to you, to our Fofoldi speaking friends, those that are Fulani. We thank you for joining us. You guys are great. Bom dia to you, of course. If you speak Portuguese, I know a lot of Africans actually speak Portuguese. I know this is not, known, but they do. Buongiorno to you. Buenos dias, of course. Imaraba to you. We welcome you to the storytelling party. Oh my goodness, Kemi, today you are early. It is so good to see. Let us see from the bottom of Africa. Chad is in the house. It is so good to see you, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us. Kemi, you have to teach me how to say this. I do not know how to greet you in this. Can you teach me? All righty, I am about ready to introduce to you, again, in my opinion, one of the most incredible women on earth. In fact, in my book, and I'm saying in my book, in Zoe Baraka's book, she is the incredible woman, okay? We're probably going to take my mom out because, everyone's mom is the best in their own eyes, right? But this woman, man, she comes a very, very, very close second. It's incredible. My God. Um, we're going to do a little something different today, okay? This is the book we're going to be discussing. It's called The Unconventional Mother: How I Nurtured My Daughter with Disability into a Global Leader. Now, I was talking to my producer the other day. This is a couple of weeks ago, and her name came up, and I got a few links sent to me on YouTube to just kind of watch and kind of research more about her. Now, the first interview blew me away. I was like, phew. So, of course, I go on my personal social media platform and I type in there, like, who is this woman? Like, I was just kind of, I just wanted to honor her and recognize her. Little did I know, my God, that To My Younger Self village is all up in everywhere. So they started tagging her, and of course, one thing led to another, and here we are. So we want first to say thank you to our producer Elsie, who is doing incredibly, incredibly well. She connected us. Uncle Ben Dochemalo did the same. Nanaure Damoa, who is actually a publisher of this book, also connected us, and then a couple of other people connected us, and here we are. We're going to be talking about this, and I'm going to be reading about her to you from the back of the book. The reason why I'm doing that, and I didn't ask her for a bio, is that we're here to just talk about the book. And I want you to not only go on Book Nook, but also go on Amazon and find the book and get it. I promise you, your life will not be the same. I sound like I'm doing an infomercial, but I really am not speaking from the heart, I promise. So here we go. If you think you have seen it all, this is the book that makes you stop. No, you haven't. The extent that a superhero of a mother goes to keep her daughter alive and functional would fire you up and revise your notes about this thing called life. Struck at birth by an unexpected combination of strange conditions, the life of a young girl was hanging in the balance from day one. The reader cannot help but be thrilled by how a mother, in the name of God, went to battle with and against science, eventually gifting to us a world class professional. Okay, sometimes a medical journal, sometimes a family drama, sometimes a life and death page turner. The episodes in this book involve diverse experts, hospitals across several countries, unusual insights on health, as well as a redeeming grace of the highest order. This roller coaster life saving journey fortifies your resolve in your own particular struggle. When you finish The Unconventional Mother, the phrase, "it is possible," will taste different in your mouth. The reason why I'm excited is because lately I have been going through some things in my personal life. And after I read this book, I just had to tell myself, Zoe, shut up. You have not gone through anything at all. And I am hoping that this is what you guys will do. Listen, if you have not, shared the link yet, please go ahead and share the link. Tell people we are live so that they can join us, okay? So like we always do in the grand To My Younger Self fashion, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the absolutely incredible I don't know what to call her. I want to call her Auntie, okay? But let's go with her first name for now, Lydia Bedwei. Hi, 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 hi.
Hi.
Oh
Hi.
my goodness. It has been such a long, journey to here. We're here now. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's nice to be here.
I know one thing about you. You don't like the attention very much. So you're just like, what is going on right now?
Yeah. I'm just living my little life in my corner. That's the way I see it.
Your life is not little, I promise you. Oh my God, your life is larger than life. Let us jump into the book. This
Okay.
incredible book. You managed to tell a story in about 106 pages. And the whole time I kept saying to myself, there is so much more. This book could have gone
Yeah,
on for 500 pages and we would still be
yeah, I
reading it.
know. I know, but my girls have an opinion too, because it's not everything you just put on the in the book. Yeah,
Right,
so
right,
you
right.
leave certain things out. So they have to proof it, proofread it, and what they didn't want in it, they took out and all. Yeah,
Oh,
so
wow. I
that's
love that. I love that you worked with them, and because this
oh
is the
yes,
story.
they are
Wow.
my girls. Yeah,
Oh my
definitely.
goodness. I love this. I really do. So, the first thing that struck me in the book, and I'm going to pull it up, it hit me so hard. And I was, I said, oh my
Really?
God. In fact, I wrote inside the book, and I don't know if you can see it. I wrote, oh my God, inside the book. Okay.
Oh well.
Because I was so upset. I was
What
so upset.
upset you that much?
So yes, let me read it. Here we
Okay.
go. This is on page 5, and it says, "I realized that if I were to have another child, that child could be in trouble because, unfortunately, after I delivered Aisha, I wasn't injected by my OBS and gynae doctor. I told
Yeah.
Cuckoo, my OB and gynae specialist, about what I had just read. Oh, so sorry, I forgot, he said.
Yeah.
What did you forget? To inject you. Why? Is the medicine expensive or something? No, it is only 68 pence. He simply forgot. Oh my
Yeah.
God, my
Uh,
heart.
Yeah.
What?
And you know the effect that had on me subsequently after having her and having gone through that, having heard a doctor telling me he forgot, I started steering clear of specialists. Look,
Oh
if
my
I
God.
took her to the hospital, I'll find somebody who just qualified, who wants to learn to attend to us. I just stayed away from specialists because, in my opinion, specialists take us for granted because they've seen it all before and they couldn't be bothered. That's the way I saw it. And for years, I mean, I was avoiding any specialists.
And I would too. I was just mad at him with the flippancy with which he just said, I
Oh,
forgot.
he forgot, but he knelt down and begged my mother. That I didn't put. I mean, he didn't beg me. He begged my mother because my mother was there, and he said he was very sorry. He knelt down and begged my mother,
And we're
and he.
grateful that you did that. But see, I was thinking, is that where it ended? You just put someone's life in this much danger and it ends there? I can't.
Yeah.
I went on Google. I was trying to find this man. I wanted to tell him a few.
Oh no! Please.
I was so upset. I said, who does that?
No, he was the doctor for the president's wife. You know, that kind, that very high, high, high. Yeah. You know how it is in Africa.
Oh my
So a president's wife's doctor is right up there in the skies. So he forgot. He didn't mean
God.
to forget, but he forgot.
Yes. Oh, okay. I'm gonna stop hammering on it, but I just keep thinking to myself, one, it takes an incredible person to
Oh,
kind of also let it go, because I personally would not let it go that easy, you know. That's one. Oh, I think we lost Auntie Lydia. Let's see. Auntie Lydia, can you hear us?
yeah, I can hear you.
There you go. One, I was saying, no, I am not. I am not. It takes a special person like you to kind of just be like, yeah, he made a mistake. But to be a president's wife's doctor and make a simple mistake like that, something that cost 68 pence, so that somebody's life had to, oh my God. God forgive me. I have no heart for it. I really don't. So I'm so grateful that you can. Can you hear us, Auntie Lydia? Hello? Uh-oh, the internet is doing something.
There's nothing. My Wi-Fi is okay. Okay. Yeah.
Are we okay?
Yeah, we are okay.
Okay, good. So I was just rambling on and on about why the doctor did what he did. But that was the first thing. So, what were your first thoughts? What were you going through at the time he threw this at you? Just like that.
Well, he told me
Mm-hmm.
that blood transfusion will solve everything. And because I'm O negative, and which is a universal donor and rare,
Mm-hmm.
I started looking for someone with O negative who will give me blood when,
Mm-hmm.
and I happened to find a friend of mine who had it, and he was very willing. When the time comes, he will do it. But then you know what happened? When she came out, she had a blocked intestine, and they were, I mean, the transfusion could not possibly go on. They were working on the blocked intestine too, because without the 8 days time, she will die if she did
Wow.
nothing pass through it. So the second day, she had her surgery to cut the intestine, cut off the blocked part and join. Yeah. And because she's such a 2-day-old baby, the intestine was so small, and they didn't know whether it's been successful or not. They gave me 10 days. We have to wait for 10 days for air bubbles to pass through it. That's when they will know that the intestine has been, the surgery has been successful. And meanwhile, I was daily worried about the about this problem with the blood. And I wasn't allowed anywhere near her. She was in the incubator in the ICU. I was standing about how many feet away and just looking at the glass. So anytime the nurse was going in, I'll ask her to touch the back of her neck to see whether the skin is yellow or whatever. And lo and behold, it was yellow. So I started talking to them. And that's when they decided to do phototherapy on the incubator. I mean, put the light on over the incubator. But then at the end of it all, the damage had already been done. So
Oh my
we couldn't
God.
do the blood transfusion. So, sometimes I used to look at it like, okay, if she had come out everything intact now, the transfusion would have saved the situation. But
Yeah.
here she was with a blocked intestine. Yeah. That's how it happened. So a man cannot decide anything, because that's why most of the time when people are pregnant and they are doing all kinds of things, I just say to myself, just pray to God you get a normal healthy baby. Don't go flouncing around doing showers, doing this and that, because you don't know.
Babe,
I
I've got
was
the
like,
shoots.
did
Photo
I do
shoot.
anything wrong? I didn't do anything wrong. I went according to everything. But this block thing, they say is 1 in 1,000. 1 in 1,000. I mean, it's just something that happens. Medicine doesn't know anything about it. So if I happen to be the 1,000th woman to get this flash,
Mm.
and that's the decision is promptly taken out of your hands. Yeah.
Yes. And right
Yes.
in God's hands. Now, the thing that really utterly blew my mind, and then from then on, I said, you know what? Farida will be fine. Even though I had, of course, I know the end game, but right there and then I said, this
End
girl,
game.
yes,
End
because
game. Just last week we had a major surgery. Last week,
I
the end
know,
game. It
but
doesn't
the
end.
end game is God has chosen Farida to live, whether
Yeah.
we realize it or not. And the reason why I say that, again, I marked this book a lot, and everyone who comes on this show knows me. When I love a book, I will write in it so much.
Of course. Of
Not to
course.
abuse the book, but that's how I
No,
show
but
my
I do
love.
the same. I do the same. I always have my highlighters and I'm highlighting page by page. So
Exactly. So here is this part here. Um, Apparently, this is on page 9. Apparently, during the night, all the other 5 babies in the incubator
yeah,
room had died.
my
That's when I
trauma.
woke up and I said, "Whoa!" This child is going, she had to live. God said, this is
My
you.
trauma.
Wow. How did you feel when you got there? And
How
what?
did I feel? I got
Wow.
there at 8 a.m. That as usual. I went to
Mm,
stand behind the red line and I started looking and there was nothing there. And I got there, the sister of the ward had somebody holding somebody and running out. And all I heard is, Auntie Lydia, Mrs. Bedwei, you are too early. And I thought, but I come at 8. So I stood there, I looked, and she wasn't there. And I was glued to the, I mean, I couldn't move any muscle. I didn't know what was happening. I had, I, and then all of a sudden, after some time, I heard somebody say, why did you take her? Have you seen the mother standing there? And I realized it was the surgeon, the pediatric surgeon who performed those things. He too, when he got there and didn't see, and he was a bit anxious.
right.
So then he came and touched me and he said, she's all right. She's all
Oh,
right. And then sister came and told me that during the night, the babies were dying and she wasn't she was the only one who was alive, so she took her to another room and the
wow.
surgeon told her, never do that again, never do that again. It was so alarming. So can you believe it? From 8 a.m. I got there, I couldn't leave till after 8 p.m. and it was raining cats and dogs, but I was so scared to go home. The following morning, I got there around 6 a.m. and I was scared to turn the corner to look where she was in the incubator.
Oh my God. Yes. And any
But
person. Wow.
it
Oh my
was it was
goodness.
really traumatic. I can never forget seeing the entire picture and everything. I mean all these years. It's
Wow.
it's it's that.
That was traumatic. And I believe that would follow you even now. Just thinking about
Oh
it is
yeah,
making me feel like, my goodness.
yeah.
Wow.
It's just that God
Audrey.
has been gracious.
Yes. Wow.
Mhm.
Audrey, title is The Unconventional Mother: How I Nurtured My Daughter with Disability into a Global Leader. In fact, on Book Nook, because this book is actually published by Dakagli and Associates, which is by Nana Redamwa and Kofi Akagli, right? So for those of you in Ghana, you'll find it on Book Nook. And if you are, in this parts of the world, or in the UK or any other parts of the world, you'll find it on Amazon, and it looks like this. Auntie Lydia, whose picture is this?
Um, Nobody in particular. It's just an African.
I thought it was a
Nobody.
younger girl. All righty.
Nobody.
So this is like every woman, really, every
Every
African woman
woman. Yeah,
endowed
with
and
their
mother.
kinky hair. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
But so, Audrey, this is the book, Prof. Okay, please, I'm waiting for you to tell me. I got into Amazon and I clicked and I paid for it already. That's what I'm waiting to hear from you, because believe me, you will not be disappointed. You will not be disappointed. In fact, I don't know why this book is priced the way it is priced on Amazon. I think it's worth at least three times that. Okay, so I know you can handle it. You really can. Auntie Lydia, we're gonna go on. Oh, the
Okay.
internet is, yes, we're gonna go on. So I see you traveled a lot. You traveled so much. I was dizzy. Just reading it, I was dizzy. I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God, just carrying a baby from, I
Yeah.
don't even know, 2 months old, and just jumping from the UK to Budapest to this place to that place. I was concerned about your emotional health. The book
Yeah.
tells me Florida was okay. But so let's talk about you. How were you preparing for every time you had to travel? What were the things you knew you could not absolutely do without, because Farida had to survive on those things? How were you packing? What was going on?
Well, you know, um, after going to London, Great Ormond Hospital, and being told what the damage was,
Mm.
um, when the neurologist told me, I listened to him. And he looked at me and he asked me, Mrs. Bedwei, have you understood what I said? I said, yes. I just kind of photographically recited the report. And I guess he must have realized I don't really understand the extent to which
Mm.
the damage he's talking about will
Mm.
affect my child. Because what
Wow.
he told me when I got there was, oh, Mrs. Bedwei, you are here. I said, yes. Okay, I have good news and bad news. Which one
Mm.
do you want first? I said I wanted the good news. So he said, oh, it didn't affect her intelligence. In fact, I think she will be above average in intelligence. But at this point, I didn't know what it was anyway. And then he said I should sit down. I sat down, and then he said it affected her motor development, and it must have affected her hearing. But she can see, because where the part of the brain which is damaging should have affected her eyesight too. So afterwards, then I asked him, what is it? And she said, oh, brain damage. And I had no clue what brain damage, whatever it was. So I was sitting there quietly and just looking at him. And then he realized that he had to do something more. So he wrote a piece of address for me on Oxford Street. He said I should go there the following morning to see someone. I had no idea what I was going to see that person for. But anyway, I went there, and there was this woman who welcomed me and then sat me down, brought me tea, and put a big box of tissues next to me. So I was wondering what was happening, tea with so many tissues. And then she started her first question. And as soon as she asked me the question, I just started crying. And I cried, and I think she must have been happy. I cried, and I realized why the tissues were there. And after crying, I felt so not good as such, but I felt like
A relief.
relief.
Mm.
I felt a great relief in the whole distance. And then she told me that there's a physiotherapist, the head physiotherapist, Mrs. Jiva, at the Great Ormond Hospital. She wrote a note that I should go and see the woman. So from then on, my life became like a robot. I have to go through the motions. These are the things I have to do. I never thought of myself. When anybody asked me that question, I just felt I'm not part of the equation. I have to do these things. Self was not part of the equation. So that's how I was able to go through. Okay, so at the time I had all this information. We went back to Lagos. I told my the specialists, the various ones who are my friends, I told them, because before I went to check on this, I kept on saying there must be something wrong with this child. There must be, and they all kept on telling me I'm being very fussy, that she had an operation, so her developmental thing will take some time. But when she was one, I just thought enough is enough. So I'd like to take her away to go and check. And that's when the brain damage thing was discovered in London. And so I came back. so I came back and I presented them with copies of the reports. And they all apologized for, but this.
No, it's
This,
absolutely unacceptable. These are
yes, it
specialist
is.
doctors in Africa. And
Yeah,
Louis,
those were
I
years
Googled,
ago.
yes, but I Googled once in
There
Lagos, and
was no Google, there was no internet, there was
but
nothing.
they are doctors. They are
All
doctors.
the books they were the big books I was reading. The pediatric big, the books you can't carry. When you are carrying, your hands are going down. Those are the books we were referring to. That was a time, those in a way,
Yes, but
And
I'm not placing that on you. I'm placing it on the doctors. You decided I'm not going to listen to the doctors because my
yeah,
child is 1 years old and 1 year old, and there's something a little off,
yeah,
and I must check it. But
yeah,
why at Luth again? We know what Luth is. Luth is a big hospital, right?
yeah,
And there is specialists. Again, I'm worried because even today, in the 21st century, this is still happening in Ghana, in
yeah.
Nigeria, in
You know,
Kenya, in Senegal.
and from my experience, is because we don't ask questions, and
Questions.
we don't ask questions, and since that time of over 40 years ago, every doctor I see, I tell the doctor I've come for a chat. When I enter the consulting room, I say I've come for a chat. So you say good morning, I say good morning, but we have to chat. So
Mm.
at the end of it, the doctor will say, I make their work easy because the diagnosis is easy because I've told them everything about anything that happened. Yeah, because I'm not taking anything for granted.
Right,
And
but
when
right.
I advise women, they tell me the doctor will say they are too no. And I tell them, I sit them down and I tell them quietly that if you go to the consulting room and he says good morning and you say good morning, and if he doesn't ask you a question and you don't say anything, what will the two of you be doing there? You have to talk to each other and he has to listen. But the only way you can do it is not be too authoritative, but you sort of have the inquiring mind, like, oh, I read this somewhere.
Mhm,
What do you think?
mhm.
Then they are okay with that. But if you say, is this, that, they are not okay with that because they have done 7 years and 8 years studies.
Well,
So they
I'm
know a
sorry,
lot
but at
more.
this point, I'm kind of disappointed. So their 7 or 8 years, at least in my eyes, where you and Farida are concerned, meant nothing. These doctors in Nigeria and other places, I was so, oh my God. I think at this point in the book, because it suddenly dawned on me that the doctor in London assumed you knew.
The way he said eight, eight, eight. Yeah, he must have assumed I knew something, but
Assumed
I
because
was
you're
a
coming
blank
from,
sheet.
yes, and so
I was
that's
a
why
blank sheet.
that's why he broke the news to you that way, because he's
Yeah,
thinking, okay, she came here for consultation, she married her, so she must know what's going on, so let me just tell
exactly.
her what we found out and how far it has gone. And that's why I kept saying, oh my God, these doctors knew nothing in Nigeria. They just were absolutely clueless. Oh
They
my.
didn't think there was anything wrong. That's that much I know. They didn't think there was anything wrong.
I think that God brought mercy to you because of the way you
Oh
carried
yes,
yourself. Because
yes.
if it was some of us, that mercy would have been gone. Because I would,
Oh,
God
God has
disposed
been
of
very
your.
merciful. Honestly, how could I have coped? How
Oh
could I
my
have coped?
goodness.
How
Oh
could I have coped?
wow.
Honestly, ah, it's
So yes, we're gonna move on because if we stay on the doctors, that could take me another 2 hours of ranting and being just
let them
upset.
be. They did what they knew how to do at the time.
Anyway, I have to move on. I
Move
I
on, my dear.
Yes, I have to move on. Now, the
Move
thing that
on.
fascinated me was the part where you went to the herbalist, and this was still in Nigeria, I believe. And this is a
Yeah.
herbalist who was taking care of, and I'm gonna read a little bit I'm not giving away
Okay.
the whole story, guys. Again,
Okay.
you have to, Audrey, thank you so much. You just said that you went into Amazon and you found the book. So thank you, thank you. I want all of you that are watching with us. Oh my God, I see all of you here already. Auntie Doris, thank you for joining us. Ralia Soro, thank you for joining us. There's a couple of you have not announced yourselves. Please go in there and announce yourself. Let us hear from you. But let me read a little bit here, okay? So this is on page 22. We moved in with friends, and I was introduced to an herbalist in the district who was known for treating sports injuries. Some
Uh,
footballers who were friends of the couple we moved in with introduced me. They gave testimonies of broken bones he had treated. We went for our first consultation, not really knowing what to expect. When we got there, a few of his patients were there sitting around a very big clay pot filled with herbs. After examining her, he concluded that she could be cured. My husband at the time was working on getting a new job, so I could not very well put him in the mix of things. I had I had taken time off work to work on Farida's rehabilitation. The herbalist's treatment commenced at 6 a.m. in the morning. I had to drive for half an hour each morning for this herbal treatment to be administered. This went on for 3 months. I recall that on our first day of consultation, the herbalist told me that my daughter's problem happened at the beginning of her life and that no one had a hand in it. Therefore, I should not believe anyone who points a finger at any other source. Every morning when we went for treatment, the herbalist would dip into a big clay pot from where he treated all kinds of injuries and rub Farida's lower body with the herbs and then make her stand in a locally built standing frame for an hour. This is the part that blew my mind. This
really?
herbalist knew how to build a standing frame in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my
He
God.
had bars of wood on the both sides, and then he will cross her with the bars. And later on in '83 in Miami, when I was introduced to a standing frame and I
Mhm.
bought one, and I saw the mechanism, the system is the same. I mean, I look at the picture. Okay, this one was the herbalist's own was crude, but this is a polished version of what you know.
Oh my God. And
Yeah.
see, again, the ingenuity of Africans. We're always saying on this show that Africans are so talented and creative. He is
Yes.
the person that came up with this idea first, but he didn't know about patenting, didn't know about how
No.
to improve it, and nobody saw through to say this is a great thing because you took off of that and made an even better one.
Exactly.
Oh, wow. Oh
Exactly.
my goodness. Wow. Guys, this is oh good morning, Dr. Viv. I'm telling you, there's incredible people here today. Good morning, Rachel. It is good to see you guys. If you just joined us, we are talking about the unconventional mother, how I nurtured my daughter with disability into a global leader. And so we are here with Auntie Lydia, and she is the author of this book. She is the unconventional mother, and we're just kind of having a conversation. We don't really have questions because with a life like this, what kind of questions can you possibly ask? So we're just going through the book, and I want you guys to go on Amazon and also on Book Nook. Please, 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 and order this book. If you have read it yourself, order one. It's Christmas and Thanksgiving is coming. Order it and give it to a friend. I promise you, it would be the best gift you ever gave. Believe me, especially for an expectant mother or someone who has not, been pregnant yet and is, looking forward to having a baby. You definitely, absolutely have to give this book as a gift. I want to kind of go back a little bit, Auntie Lydia. This is the part
Okay.
that kind of drew me. And I said to myself, as a filmmaker, this is what I would have, this is the beginning of the film for me in my mind. Because I do really think this book should be a film. I really believe that. And I think that as a filmmaker, this is where I will make this the beginning and this is where I will end it. this is where you talk about, and I'm finding it. You talk about, where is it? It's in the beginning. All right. This is actually chapter 1, page 1. And guys, listen very carefully. I know some of you are crying already. I see all the tears emojis and all that, but this is going to absolutely blow your mind. And I want you to just think of it as a movie in your mind. It's around 9:40 a.m. and I am seated at the back of the alumni hall of Wellesley College, Boston, Massachusetts, USA. My daughter, Farida, is speaking about her life and passion for coding to hundreds of women in the auditorium. It is a global platform, and she is sharing the same stage with 6 other African women leaders, including Her Excellency Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. This is where I got the cold chills. I was like, oh my God. Before Farida gets into her element to talk about how she coded her way into an empowered life, she says, usually, when I tell my story, people ask me to send all kinds of lovely messages to my mother. Fortunately for you today, she is here with me, so you can give her the messages yourself. I will not be the messenger this time round. I smiled as several eyes turned to me. People congratulate me for a good job done bringing up Farida. But the credit is not mine alone. My daughter equally deserves the credit for working so hard to become a global leader. I feel happy and proud that, in spite of her disability and against all the odds, she is now a pioneer software engineer, a trailblazer in her field of software systems. As I admire Farida deliver her speech, filled with a lot of humor and inspiration, my mind drifts to the past, to a private hospital in Lagos on 6th April 1979 when she was born. Oh my God. I just I just got chills. And here we go. Newton says really cold chills, Zoe. I'm telling you, I was crying like a baby by
Oh
this
dear.
time because my mind is going, this is it's like Benjamin Button, is like Stephen Hawkins. It's an incredible epic tale of not the love of a woman, a mother alone, but the resilience of a child who
Yeah.
has chosen that they are going to live no matter what. And the first thing that you said to me, I think the first time we talked, was you said, I was determined that Farida will not feel different from any child.
Any child, yeah. That
Oh,
was the main goal. That was the main goal. And from the beginning, when she was 3 and we were doing serious physiotherapy, I know it was painful and all, but I always told her, in this house, we don't say I can't. You always say I'll try. So
oh
she
God.
had to try everything. I mean, she grew up having to try no matter what pain in this house. And most of the time when I get frustrated, I just tell her that, look, I had a life before and
Yeah.
you didn't have it, know any other life but this life. But I knew another life. So when I'm applying myself, you have to apply yourself. That's
Mhm.
it. Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I can't even tell you how many people are in here going goosebumps, goosebumps. This part, I would just want just that part for a movie before we even go into everything else. I'm telling you, my goodness. So let's talk about physiotherapy a little bit. First, again, that doctor in Miami needed a little bit of
Oh
talking.
yeah. Yeah.
How respectful, and how to just flippantly say, here is some medicine, you better take it or not. Who
Yeah.
are you? I was literally just sitting here going, who is this man? I want.
Yeah, most of the time they kind of feel you don't know anything. They're just doing you a favor. And I wasn't going in from that angle. because before I go, I read.
Yes.
I did read. I read just about everything that is worth reading. So I had questions. I always go with questions. And that didn't sit well with some of them.
Mm.
Where because most of the time they ask me, am I medical? I say no. I don't know anything about being medical or not being medical, but I'm a mother, and this is what I've read, and I need to understand it.
And that's
Because
as
with me,
Mhm.
life is very simple. If you explain things to me, I need to understand. Then I can go forward with it. You know,
Wow.
that's how it is.
Oh. So we're
So
gonna move forward. Go ahead, Auntie
when
Lydia.
he says mother refuses medication, and because it was a referral from London, he wrote mother refuses medication. And me, I asked him, they've told me that part of the brain is damaged and I have to train the other undamaged part to do the work of this one. So if you drug her, how would I know how to teach
Wow.
her what I'm supposed to teach? And then that's when he said it's okay. And he gave me the referral and the letter. He
Mhm.
sent one. By the time I got to London, he has sent one to him already. And I explained to him. He said he understands because he has told me I have to train the thing. So her mental faculties have to be intact for me to be able to train the damaged part. But if it's drugged and she's sitting quietly in a corner because you said you are helping me, I said, this is no help. That's my daughter. That's my
Oh
child,
my God.
you know.
Oh my God. You know, Uncle Echo is here. Uncle Echo Fisher says, are you medical? No, I am a mother. Brutal vibe, a well-read mother, I will add. You know, that's all the qualification you ever needed to do anything for Farida. You are a
Yeah,
mother.
you have to fight for
That's
your child. You have to
wow.
fight for your child. I mean, it's a lonely world. And if you don't do, who will do it for her?
Who will do it for you? You know, and having, worked a little bit in the medical field, not as, all I did was kind of dispense medication as a pharmacy person. I have seen how everything, especially in these parts of the world, is just given to medicine. I have a headache, take some medicine.
Yeah,
I can't breathe it, take some medicine. My eye is twitching. They just give medicine upon medicine. I
I,
can't see
I don't do that.
medicine.
I don't do
I
that. With
can't
my
wake up.
children, you have a stomach ache, drink water. That's mine is
Mm,
drink water. And
wow.
this water therapy has helped my children, my grandchild, I mean, drink water, drink a lot of it. It will push out whatever is causing this. And then if there's an infection, it will be sorted out. But
My
that is
goodness.
how it is.
Wow. I am so glad you stood your ground. Now,
Oh, I
everyone
had
here is so excited and they're just going at it. Now, for those of you who don't have the book, I've decided we're going to read just little bits and pieces because I
somebody
really
says bold mother, but you
love it.
have to be bold for your children. You know,
Yes.
you have to fight for them. They are so helpless. And when you realize this is the flesh of your flesh, as it says in the Bible,
Mhm.
and you just let somebody run roughshod over you like that. It was a difficult period, but I had to stand my ground, kind of, because
Yes. And then the
I
other
paid the
part is,
consulting fee.
yes.
Yeah,
And then they said to you, you can leave Farida in a home for someone
yeah,
else to take care of them. And what
yeah.
was your answer?
I can't leave myself in a home.
Mm,
Because leaving Farida is leaving me in that home. I wouldn't
yes.
know whether she's eating. I wouldn't know whether she's crying. I wouldn't know anything. And what would I be doing? You say you are helping me, and this is no help to me. So when I say I can't leave, I said I can't leave myself in a home. They understood somehow
Oh,
because
wow.
she is me. Mhm.
Now, for those of you who have not read the book, not only did she refuse, absolutely refuse to give Farida medicine in that way, or also just keep Farida in a home, because as you know, and also not only did Auntie Lydia refuse to absolutely spiritualize it, because that's the thing that mostly happens in Africa, right? we always tend it's somebody else that's doing it.
Doing
And
it. Yeah.
just take kids who are going through some health challenges or physical challenges. We take them and dump them at prayer camps and all these other places. And sometimes when you see the treatment that these people get, as though it was their fault that they were born the way they were born, um, you will understand the excitement. And so I'm going to read how the beginning happened, that the just Auntie Lydia homeschooling Farida. Okay. You're gonna be absolutely amazed.
Homeschooling.
Yes, that part. I just kept sharing and I'm like, yay, yay.
Which part?
So this is on page 45. Okay. We're gonna read a little bit of this so that our audience can kind of get into it. It says homeschooling Farida, the beginning. Once we were through with the reading course with Farida, I wondered what I could do next while Aisha went to regular school in Rousseau. Then one day, whilst reading a magazine, I stumbled upon a homeschool correspondence course with the World Education Service in the magazine. I wrote to them and they sent me their curriculum. It was in modules and looked good. So I paid and they packaged everything I needed for the course, starting with grade one, and posted them to me. In the coming years, the WES program of study would enable me to build up Farida's foundational literacy skills and explore the world of knowledge with her. So we started. Per the study plan, we were to forward the coursework to them at the end of every week. But as we finished the first week and I was getting Farida to do the coursework, another reality hit me. She could not write. Her hand coordination was not strong and therefore very unstable. Due to the spasticity in her fingers, alphabets like C, O, G, U, and Q were very difficult for her to write. Determined as I was, especially in view of the joy I saw in her eyes during the first week of the homeschooling program, I looked for a solution to her inability to write. Incidentally, I had read somewhere that playing the piano helps with the coordination, so I assumed that using the typewriter could also help because the fingers would be moving in the same manner as playing the piano. With that assumption in mind, I bought a children's typewriter for Farida, by then almost 4 years old, for her to start learning to type. Eish. People, do you even understand this? Do you even, this is, first, I love that at the beginning, you say, I read, I read in a magazine, I
Yeah,
read
yeah, I
in a
read.
book, I read in a
Yeah.
journal, but you didn't
I,
stop.
I, I read a lot. I used to read everything in sight. So I read.
And you didn't just stop there. You
No,
followed through. You didn't just say, but so how can I get this? You just wrote to them. And if they
yes,
answered, sure. And if they didn't, at least you wrote.
of course.
Oh
That's
my
it.
goodness.
That's
Wow.
it.
Oh, as I'm here now interviewing or just talking with you, I now understand, on KSM's show, he just was so excited. And I said, why is this man so happy? Now I get that feeling. I said, oh, this is how he felt because I don't even know what questions to ask you because I want to ask you everything. That's the problem.
Like Uncle Ben.
I know, I know Uncle Ben did that. He was just
He
trying to.
wanted to ask all questions.
Oh, our dear Uncle Ben. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
So Farida started writing and all that. Now the thing that fascinates me is this children's typewriter you bought for Farida, which eventually translated into a computer, is the
Yeah.
thing you bought it as as a solution to a little challenge you had.
Yeah.
And suddenly, here she is. The same thing. that was supposed to kind of have broken her is the thing that built her.
Yeah,
Oh my
it's
goodness.
true. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Because it was a challenge to get her fingers to coordinate. I mean, you know, if you've had you've seen a child with a disability,
Mm,
getting 1, 2, 3. I mean, 1, 2, 3. But she was fascinated with the paper appearing with the alphabet. So I thought, okay, this is something. She's fascinated. She wants to continue. So then have time for her and let her continue doing it. And she
wow.
was able to learn enough to be able to do her work, send the first work to back exercise to London. Yeah. So
Oh my God. And then
yeah,
the fascinating thing about this whole thing, because you're in the process, you're taking care of her, is Farida's routine. It just
yeah.
blew my mind. She knew instinctively, I have to keep to a particular time. And this is
Oh
something that I
yes.
will do. Tell us more about that. I was going to read it, but how about you tell
You
us?
know, because I have Aisha, and
Mm,
Aisha had her routine. I mean, there were things we were doing before Farida was born, and
mm,
there are two girls, and I didn't want there to be any fights or any I mean, if I left Aisha, she will realize it that because of Arida, I'm spending less time with her and all. So
mm.
everybody had their routine. Aisha goes to school, and so between 8 and 12, I have to spend the time with Farida and do
Wow.
her work and do her physiotherapy and everything. And then I go for Aisha at 12:31. She comes home, has lunch, and then she has to do ballet and other things. And I take care of, do that. So everybody has routine. And you know, the routine is not only for them, but it helps you, the mother. So you can
Mm,
find some spare time for yourself. Because once you've scheduled it and by 7:30, they are in their bed, from 8 onwards till midnight or so, you have time for yourself, you know. So
wow.
you have to keep to the schedule, and she has to have a time for eating. And I mean, she maintained that time to adulthood, because at 12:31, she has to have her lunch, and her lunch has to be cooked food, not a
I love
sandwich.
it. Wow.
and, and by 6:30 dinner. So by 7:30 in bed, then you can at least start breathing. This is
Mm,
my day. Uh-huh. Yeah.
wow.
So routine
Oh
is
my
very
God.
important.
And then the picking of the rice and the beans. Tell us about that.
Oh, that's therapy. That
Mm,
is therapy. You know, I was in Dominica, and
mm,
go to Miami to consult.
mhm,
But a whole lot of things are done. So those days it wasn't a mobile phone period. So I have
mhm,
to have a camera. So I take the camera along, and as Cheryl, the therapist, was doing the therapy with her, I take pictures. Every stage, I take pictures. So I develop it, and when I went back to the island. I put the pictures on the wall in the room that I use for her, all the pictures in sequence on the wall. So then I can also be doing it, because the whole thing is to learn how to do it and do it. And this was I was in when she was 18 months. I was in Yugoslavia, and
mhm,
at the army hospital, the surgeons told me that everybody who meets me would want to operate
mhm,
on her legs, but it is my choice. I should know that it's my choice,
mm,
because I can do therapy. It will take a longer time, and the operation will be 50-50.
mhm.
Sometimes they end up with a floppy leg, which isn't firm, and sometimes it's good. So I have to have that choice. But what they added to it is that I come to consult them for only 1 hour, and I have the child with me for 23 hours.
Mhm.
So I need to learn to be doing the therapy with the child at home.
Wow.
And they went to the extent that even when I get guests and I have to give them something, I can give the child to the guest and show the guest how to exercise the fingers whilst waiting for their drink. So, you have to, yeah. So that was the basis from when she was 18 months. And it was a continuous. Every time I'm sitting with her or this thing, I'm showing you her, as you are talking to me, if you are sitting by me, you would have been holding her hand and exercising the fingers. So this picking of rice and beans, they use pegs, those little pegs in America.
Yes.
Yeah. And what's the point in going to get pegs and whatever? So we improvise with, she's supposed to use the first two fingers to pick
Mhm.
it.
Yes.
But her instinct tells her she should use the full hand to do it. So
Oh,
the therapy was to get her to be using the first two fingers. And
wow.
the rice or the beans, enough for her to pick. So you put a lot of rice in a cup, pour it on the ground, on the floor, and she has to pick them into the cup. And yeah, it was all part of the therapy. Yeah.
Oh
So
my
to get her fingers to be able to coordinate well, to be able to, it's all
Oh
part of
my
it.
God. And
You
that
need a lot
doesn't
of
help.
patience.
Yes.
You need a lot of
Wow.
patience. I prayed hard for God to give me patience because before her, I wasn't a patient person, but God was merciful.
Oh my God.
God was merciful. He granted me that patience. And even that, and he kept on increasing it as the time went by. Yeah.
Went by. Oh, to God
Yeah.
be the glory. My goodness. So the thing that fascinates me about you is the fact that you
Me?
didn't just, yes, you didn't just sit there and say, I'm a mother of a child who needs a lot. And so I'm not going to do anything with my life. Because in one of the countries, you decided to open up a salon and help
Yeah.
people. And not only
Yeah.
that, you took a course, in
Yeah. I
massage
went to school.
and therapy. Tell us about that. This is
No,
incredible.
after we left Dominica, and I realized the direction my life was going,
Mm,
I was looking for something to do which I can coordinate with her because I'm still her main therapist and everything. We were
mhm,
still living in the islands and all. So
mhm.
my brother was in Manchester, so I went to live there with them, put Aisha in school. And she, at the time, wasn't going to go to any school. So I had a niece in London who had finished her course also. So I employed her to come and stay with me and look after her so I can find something to do.
Wow.
And I saw this beauty therapy thing, and I thought, okay, I can do it on the islands I mean, if I'm there, when I'm there. So I went to do the course for 6 months, um, 8 to 4 every day, 5 days a week. Sometimes, funny this thing. I bought a 200 pounds car. So when I'm driving the car, sometimes by the time I wake up, the car is frozen. And when I'm going, I can't close the door. I put my arm over the this thing and drive the car. I
Oh
always
my God.
remember. Sometimes I put hot water in the car to defrost it. So I'm going to school.
Oh my gosh.
I
Oh
was able,
wow. But it worked.
yeah,
That's the problem.
it
It
worked.
worked.
It worked. It worked. And that's why when people are idle and
Mhm.
don't want to do anything, because whatever situation you find yourself in, you have to now look at what resource you have and see what you can do with it, how best you can do work
Wow.
with it. Yeah.
Oh my God. And then the
Yeah.
beautiful thing is, guys, not only, and I'm talking because now I'm an insider, right? I've read the book. So if you want to read to know all the inside stories, like all these, incredible stories we're like kind of just talking about, you have to get the book. That's all I'm going to say. But needless to say, Auntie Lydia went on to kind of just have the most amazing salon on the island, and people would
Yeah.
come to her for massages and all that. It was an incredible, that part I was smiling through the whole time. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God. And the beautiful thing is that didn't just stay with her in the on the island.
Then-
When she finally moved to Ghana, then you got a contract with the Miss Ghana franchise, and then she
Yeah.
started grooming the Miss Ghanas. Can you believe that this woman did that? You know, I
I
was
did.
just like, wow.
I did Kalsum and Emanuela. Yeah.
Yes, and you guys remember Calcium Sinari, and you remember
Yeah.
Emmanuel Midye. Is that how to say
Media.
her
Yeah.
last name? Midye,
Yeah.
yes, right. And I thought Emanuela was one of the most beautiful women on earth. This
Yeah.
was the mother that is responsible. Do you remember her gait? You know, and the way she carried herself. This is her.
Self.
Yes, her coach all through that with Farida and everything else that was going on in her life. You know, she still went to school, and this is a woman who was working in a big organization, left her job because of Farida, went back to school. How old were you at the time you went back to school, Auntie Lydia?
36.
Can you know what I mean? Like,
And
I'm
all
just
the
so
girls were 18 and 20. And I was like, hey, mama. Somebody even said that I was as old as their mother.
oh my God. Oh, I am so impressed with you. Now, let me pick another part that kind of blew my mind about Farida. There's so many funny stories in here, okay? Farida wanted to wear normal shoes at some point. So there's a little story in there about how she
Yeah.
chose she wanted to wear normal shoes. There's another,
Yeah.
there's so many incredible funny stories, and how Auntie Lydia kind of improvised even with bicycles so she could be at the park with her cousins and her sister. Just so many. I don't want to give it away because I feel like it would be cheating Auntie Lydia. You just kind of you have to get the book. That's all I can say. You really just have to get the book. Now, um, well, let me read this part. I want to go back to the part where you came back, did the Miss Ghana thing, and then started doing wholesale. You were doing
Yeah.
wholesale of things. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, we came to Ghana, and initially we were coming on a holiday, let's put it that way, because
Mhm.
we had decided, my husband and I, that we would like to be in Dominica, and we had made various arrangements for that. So we didn't even come with Athens.
Oh my
So we
God.
came, and Aisha had started Form 1
Mhm.
already in Grenada before we came. Yeah. So we put her in Laboni Secondary School because we were living in Osu. So we wanted her to do something between June and July, yeah, before the long vac. So Aisha was there, and Farida was with me as usual. But then I can put her in the car and we go everywhere. She will sit in the car. All I have to do is to buy her fried yam and oranges and things. She will be okay in the car.
Wow.
So I just said to myself, what am I going to do now? I've been away for so long, 20 years. What am I going to do? So a friend of mine in Cape Coast knew some Lebanese guys who had a factory,
Mhm.
soap factory. So we went to see them. And then they said I could get, I mean, they would give me the soap and I
Mhm.
will supply the people in Okaishi. So
Eish.
I started with that, and I went to a crocodile market. And then a friend in Tema said GTMC, they have off-cuts which they pack in bundles and send to the north and this thing. So I went there to deposited money, got it working with that. So in the morning, I'll drop Aisha when Aisha finally started going to St. Mary's. I'll drop her in Kolebu there and go to Tema, and then do the various rounds. And then when it's getting to one whatever, now we have to have a serious dash to Accra to come and pick her. And depending on where I have to go back to now, they are in the car. They lived in the car.
Oh my
Everything is in the car. So,
God. Oh my God. And then not only that, at some point, some thieves came and took away some things, right?
Yeah, I opened a shop. I decided to build a shop. After running around some, I decided our house is in Kaneshie on the main road. I decided to build a shop. So the shop was built. Goodwill from people in Lagos, in Accra, in whatever. They sent things to me. I put them all in the shop. I think the same week or the following week, I was coming to the shop. There's a little hill like this, and I saw many people standing there. So I was wondering what was happening. Not knowing, thieves have made a hole. Apparently, they use acid or something, a hole through the wall, and have gone inside and collected the things from the shop.
Wow.
The trauma.
Oh my God.
The trauma. Things I haven't been paid for. Things I was working to get a basis this thing for. Then going to the police, they tell you to bring 2 CDs to go and buy exercise book because you have to write your statement. You have to. I went to CID and no, they came to take fingerprints, nothing. And every time they come around, you have to pay for their transportation.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was a real trauma. Real
Oh
trauma.
my God. And then, even then, you didn't stop, because at that point, I kept saying, this is the end. If she would just have to stop there.
No,
But
how do I stop? No, but how do I stop? I haven't made anything with my eye.
Oh my God. So you just kept going. So there's a few questions that I think we should tackle right away. Professor Audrey had
Okay.
a question before we come to this one. The question was Auntie Lydia in the military? Because she heard you say the army hospital in Yugoslavia, but that's no. How about you?
What
She
was
was
her
asking
question?
if you were in the military, because you said that you were in the
Oh,
army.
no. No, because the army hospital was the best hospital there in the part of Yugoslavia I was living in. So
Yes.
that's why I had to
Wow.
go there. Yeah.
Is that the hospital that the 24-hour, every 5 minutes giving medicine to Farida
That
happened?
was in New Belgrade. That hospital
Oh,
was in
wow.
New Belgrade, another part. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
that's 24
I know the
hours.
story, but can you tell the
Yeah,
audience?
I know you know the story.
So can you
Yeah,
tell
you
the
know, and
audience
with
that story?
when they gave me all those herbs and teas and things,
Mhm.
I didn't know what the herbs were, but I was just boiling them and giving it to her. So when we had to travel, come and see me. I was scared because I don't know what Indian hemp or whatever looks like anyway. And these things in small paper bags, which I had to carry along. So I looked at the situation, sat there for a while, and decided to throw all the herbs away because I didn't want to be caught at any airport. We were going to travel. I can't travel with. So I threw everything away. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, the internet is messing up again. Auntie
Is it?
Lydia. Yes,
You
there we
can't
go.
get
We
me.
can hear you now. We can hear you now.
Oh, because I can see you.
Okay, we can hear you now.
Somebody
Okay,
is asking what's the title of the book.
right. And producer Elsie already answered her, but I will answer you too. This is what the book looks like, and it's called The Unconventional Mother: How I Nurtured My Daughter with Disability into a Global Leader. If you are in the West, either London, America, or any part that is not in Africa, you can find the book on Amazon. But if you're in Ghana or any part of, really, even if you're here, order it on Book Nook. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. This is the book. But so there's a story in there where they had given Auntie Lydia medicine where she had to give Farida every 5 minutes for 24 hours. Auntie Lydia, tell us a little bit about that and how you survived that 24-hour period.
Yeah, that 24-hour period. And this was, we went, it was in the evening, and I had to go to New Belgrade to that hospital, which was 24-hour hospital.
Mhm.
And then they said, They gave me some herbs in a little brown paper bag. Said I should boil it and give a teaspoon every 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I said a teaspoon every 5 minutes. He said yes. Okay. So we went home. At least until midnight, I could stay awake and give her the teaspoon. Although she
Every
was
five
sleeping,
minutes.
every 5 minutes I was looking at my watch. I didn't know what, she was in a bad shape, but they've been able to stabilize her. So they say give her every 5 minutes. So every 5 minutes. So at this point in time, I just decided, okay, I had a vodka and I had a lot of cheese. I didn't want to get drunk. So every few minutes, I'll drink the vodka to stay awake and then
You put the
eat the
cheese in.
cheese. And
Yeah.
I was listening. Those days, there was a radio station called Radio Luxembourg, and they play all the nice music. So I had Radio Luxembourg on throughout the night, and just I dared not sit on a bed or anything. I was sitting on a chair and
Oh
just
my
listening
God.
to the music, having the vodka and having the cheese. Every
Every do you guys
five
even
minutes,
understand what this is? This is every hey, it
every 5 minutes.
I was trying to make the calculation in my mind, because how many 60 minutes inside of an hour, so this divide 60 by 5 and then multiply that by 24.
12 times.
I was how
At the end of it all, I was like a zombie. I mean, I
God.
didn't know where my legs were or my head. So I was in that state with the vodka I've taken, the cheese, the water. I, I just crashed. I mean, all I can say is I crashed. At the end of it all, I crashed for some hours before I came to see
Oh my
what was
God.
the yeah. I
And
crashed.
this is again how you know that was God's mercy, because anything could have
Yeah,
happened to Farida when you were not
yeah,
available in that state. But God
yeah,
said, this child must live. And so she lived. You came to, and she
yeah.
was still there. This is incredible. This is incredible. I think there was another question for you, Auntie. It says, Auntie Lydia, please, what will be your advice to a young mother in a similar situation who doesn't have enough resources?
In what environment?
Yeah.
Where will this young mother be? In
Mm,
Ghana or in Europe or where? I mean, what's the
okay.
question?
So,
Because I mean,
Professor Audrey, yes, can you
in uh,
add
in
more?
in Ghana or so, there are so many things you can improvise. I used to tell people that growing up, our house in Kaneshi, it's on the main road, and my mother, those days there was no pure water or whatever. You have to be creative in mind as to what you can do. My mom put water with you go to ice company, buy the ice in it, and put 3 cups on top. Everybody passing will say, oh, mahening, mahe what, take it. And at the end of the morning, we will get 5 cedis. And that 5 cedis is what we take to the market to go and buy plantain and contomere and fish and everything to come in the house. So
Wow.
of something you caught up in the house and you can't leave the house now. You look
Mhm,
around and see what you can do. Don't
mhm,
I mean, I am a child of small beginnings. All
mhm,
these largesse and things, and it doesn't sit well with me, because you have to start from somewhere and lay the grounds to be able to stand on. So you get
mm.
the basis to stand on. I don't know where the young woman is, but it's not everybody who can go to the office. There are things you can do around you. There are things you can sell. Some people just buy charcoal and tie it and sell. Even if nothing should be beneath you when you have a child with this, there should be humility, big humility there. There should be
Mm,
humility.
mm.
Me, the circumstances dictate. and you have to be able to adapt to the situation. You don't have to think to the thing of yourself. So who asked the question?
Wow. That was Professor Audrey.
Oh, okay.
I know from process, I always suspected vodka had a motivational aspect. Plus
Well,
cheese.
Prof. Aubrey, please advise your patient or your lady to look around her. It's because and that's one reason why I keep telling my story, because people will say, oh, you are, they are disadvantaged, you have. It's a question of you have, because I had to stop my work, and circumstances just happened that my husband was working with a union at that time. So we got to go to those places. But I wasn't working, and I had to, I mean, it helped. But if not now, being in Lagos, I was doing therapy with one Swiss lady who was using biiise and things, and you can improvise. When we came back, I told them at social welfare that I've been through this and I'm still going through. And if there are mothers who have children with any problem, they should let me know whether I can help. But they showed me somewhere opposite the Methodist Church in Palladium. They have a and then one day they sent a Danish guy with a Tanzanian wife. They brought their son to me in the house. And I realized the son will need a bolster chair. And a bolster chair is round, but it can be improvised. So I got wood, foam, and leather, and did the bolster for the child. And they were able to use it for their child. And so there are so many things you can improvise. If you've seen the original or whatever it is in the improvise and use it. Instead of pegs, we were using beans and rice. Instead of a leather, whatever, and we used leather for the outer, foam in it, wood inside, and it was done, you know. So there are so many ways
Wow.
you can do
So
things.
Professor Audrey said that I was asking in general, but you've touched on all
Oh,
scenarios
okay.
pretty well. Thank you, Auntie.
Okay.
This is
Oh, you're
incredible.
welcome.
And then the journey part, not only did Farida went on to, she did her BECE, and Auntie Lydia, they had to write a letter, and you guys just have
Yeah,
to.
I had to go and see them, because I mean, how am I going to write?
Mhm.
So I had to go and see the minister. I didn't know him, but I mean, I went. He at least he saw me. I told him what my situation was, and he handed me over to the permanent secretary, who handed me over to special education, who handed me over to the general manager of West African Exams Council, and I told them well. So, and she has to do this exam.
Mhm.
So, having told them, they said they will see what they will do. Then one day I went to pick her in school, and the headmistress said, Auntie Lydia, three big men came here. And I said, but what has it got to do with me? Three big men. She said that they came to look at her for textbook. And I said, who were they? And so they went to her school in Awudome JSS, and went to look at her books and decided that that they will note for
Wow.
those marking to
Mhm.
spend pay extra attention when they
Mhm.
are marking her this and that. She's better than some of those who are normal. Her writing was better than some normal. So okay,
Wow.
so that was how
And
it
she
ended.
passed the exam. Let me tell you, this girl, man, there's so many incredible stories about Farida in here. She would just not sit. Okay, here's another little anecdote that I thought I should read to you. Bear with me one moment, and I
Uh-huh.
will actually
Hello. Yes.
Well, whilst Auntie Aisha is on the phone, we will
Good
read
afternoon.
something here. This is Introduction to the Computer. This is for Farida.
There was Zoom call. So,
Not long after we moved to Latobia Koshi, towards the last quarter of
Mama, you
1988,
later. Mama,
I enrolled Farida in a computer program at the
it was Zoom
Advanced
call.
Systems, located at Zoti, a suburb of Latobia Koshi. She could type, so I knew she could at least learn MS Word and be engaged with something productive. Little did I know that enrolling her at ACS would be the foundation of her sterling career and exploits as a leading software engineer. ACS was filled with medical doctors and other professionals who were learning MS Word. This was the early days of the PC, and workers had to acquaint themselves with the tools of information technology and become computer literate. Farida was 11 and the only child in the class. She enjoyed learning and soon completed the course in MS Word. She, she then did DBase and MS Excel. One day, when I got there to pick her up from school, I heard her say to some of her adult mates, "If I teach you, you will pay me 5 cities." Ah, that gave me so much to laugh about. I said, "Oh my God, Farida is my mother's daughter. She's doing business already at 11." She said, "Nah, nah, 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 nah. I'm good at this. I'm gonna take 5 cities from you if I teach you." Oh my God, that really
Yes. And when I said, why did you do that? She says, Mommy, they don't know anything. I
I
said,
don't know
okay.
anything. Professor Audrey said, "I so admire you, Auntie Lydia. You've challenged me today." Yes, this is why we're doing this. We want every African woman, indeed, every African man, okay, to be challenged by stories like this, by lives that have been well lived, okay, and not just flippantly like, ah, well, this is my child, this is what's happening, and kind of leave it at that, and then kind of be at the mercy of spiritualists or doctors. Okay, so because you can go at both extremes, you can just over spiritualize it, or over, is this a word, medicalize, you can over medicalize it and not take responsibility for that which is your responsibility. We all have to take responsibility. So, Professor Audrey, I am so glad this is happening through the conversation. I am so, so excited. Um, Chapter 9 is, honestly, this whole book is my favorite. It's a favorite book. But chapter 9, when you talk about perseverance and hope, oh my God, I have to read a little bit of that so you guys can just kind of understand what this is about, okay? But Auntie Lydia writes, Farida has been described on a number of occasions as a genius, but human genius is not something that just happens. Whatever we consider genius in any person emerges through hard work and perseverance. If today people see my daughter as a genius, then it is because she has worked and still works very hard at what she does. From when she was 1 year old and was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, I was made to understand that her intelligence may be above average and that it was not affected by the neurological disorder. I took consolation in this fact and nurtured her to be curious, creative, and independent minded. Personally, I don't like to use any superfluous words like genius to describe her abilities because all I ever wanted for her was for her to be like every other child and not feel limited by her disabilities. It has not been easy for all of us, particularly her. So if she has gone a little bit above the average child or person and gone above those who are normal, and this is in quote, then that is an added bonus. And I'm grateful to God for this. Otherwise, rather than seeing Farida as being as some gifted genius, all I see daily is someone who is highly determined and perseveres perseveres. A case of her perseverance is the experience she went through when she left Rancard Solutions in 2010 as senior software architect. Do you guys understand this? She was a senior software architect. By the way, she found this job by herself. Okay, this girl just went into a taxi, did not even care. I don't want to give all the stories away. I just can't. You have to get the book. But got anyway. For several months, she kept applying for jobs, but the feedback she got was that she was overqualified. She has arrived. Overqualification is better. I just love this. I love this book. She felt quite frustrated, but being the determined and creative person that she is, she resolved to write a book instead. She had always wanted to write a book, so she found her frustrations with her work as an opportunity to sit and write. Mommy, when I finish writing the book, I will get a job. She once told me. Being the deeply spiritual person that she is, Farida felt sure it was God who had inspired and instructed her to finally write her book. She conducted extensive research and sat down to write and produce a manuscript of her book, Definition of a Miracle. Guys, call to action. This is another book that we are hopefully going to discuss on To My Younger Self very, very soon. Go get the book so you don't feel left out of the conversation once we are able to figure it out and get the author of the book herself here. Okay, so do not miss out. Go and get the book, either on Book Nook, because I know Big Brother will definitely have it, and also on Amazon for sure. So she definitely went on and wrote a book which also became I think it's become an animated series, right, Auntie? It's become an animated series.
No,
Um,
the animated series is, yeah, it's on a superhero heroine with a disability. Yeah,
oh
that's
my
the
God.
Kamza. Yeah,
Yes.
she's
Oh my
yeah.
goodness. And you know
Mm,
what? From Farida's mouth, here it is. As soon as she finished writing the last chapter of the book, she got a job offer. It happened
yeah,
just as she said.
that,
Okay?
yeah,
Oh my goodness. My goodness. There is so much in this book. There is a part where she relapsed,
yeah,
um, some things
yeah.
happened there. Do you want us to talk a little bit about the relapse, Auntie?
Okay, you've brought it up, so I'm sure you've whetted the appetite.
I'm whetting the appetite because I really want them to just go and get the book for themselves. So maybe we won't talk about the relapse. You guys have to go and get the book to kind of find out what happened during the relapse, okay? Um, One little part I want to read here. Unlike other parents who look after their children who grow up and go their own way, my journey with Farida continues until the end. Yes, Farida is grown up and all, but taking care of her is not over. This, in essence, is why my role as a mother is unconventional, and I can proudly declare it as unconditional. I love my daughters to bits, and I shall continue supporting them to the hilt. I know there is mothers, and apparently a mother's love is unquenchable. But when we grow up and we're about 25 years old, we kind of have to leave home. Auntie Lydia is so unequivocal about her resolve. The future is so bright and so broad. We never know what God will do. Farida may go
Yeah,
on to be the boss of Google at some point. I cannot wait because I look forward to it. Or the big boss of Amazon or some other really big company may go on to have children of her own, and having to take care of them. But Auntie Lydia says her job with Farida is never over, never over.
no,
And that for me changed a lot of things. That I've been going through so much myself, and I kept saying, "Oh my God, how will I move on? Where will I go?" But suddenly, after reading this book, I said, I can go anywhere in the world and I will live and I will survive.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
That's the
Oh,
spirit.
oh, thank you. Thank you so much. There's so much going on in the comment section. Right. I am challenged. My challenges are nothing in the mirror of Mama Lydia's story, perseverance and optimism. I have a personal question for you. I know you had said that you didn't kind of your own self, you took yourself out of the equation and never ever
Yeah.
worried about anything when it
Yeah.
came to you. But were there days when you kind of asked God, what did I do?
No, I did that when she was 10 days old, when she was still in
Mm,
the hospital, because
mm.
my mother came around me to the hospital, and after looking at her in the incubator, she told me that God has chosen me out of 1,000 women and given me an assignment.
Wow.
The reaction to her was like, "Oh, Ma, so you don't like me at all? I mean, you want me to go through this all my for the rest of my life?" And she said, "God has given me an assignment, and that if I do it well, one day He will bless me." So I left it at that. But through the years, when I'm going for therapy here, therapy there, I used to sit down and ask God, haven't I done the right thing? I mean, am I doing it well? Haven't I done it well? I used to ask question, but the person asked to pay me. I asked she was 10 years old. And then when I heard why mean, my mother promptly said, well. And that's when I just felt like she doesn't like me or what.
Wow.
But it
Wow.
went on like that from
Wow.
the beginning, and but it helped me along the line. Like, okay, when I get so frustrated and whatever, I just say to myself, oh, I'm just doing it for God. It's not even about me. I'm doing it for God. So it was easier. And so later on, I advise women that when you are doing it, think of God. Doing so it's time for you to help, and it makes it easier when you say you are doing it for God.
Oh
So
my
your
God.
very frustrated moments when you feel you can't move on, and you are doing something wonderful I mean, you are doing some work for God, whether
Mm.
it's wonderful or not, you are doing it for God, and it's
It's
easier.
good.
It makes it easier for
Oh,
you to do it. Yeah.
wow. Wow. Rachel, who is a pharmacist out here, she says, when can we meet her? I believe that Rachel is talking about Farida because we've mentioned Farida's name so much. We're
Okay.
working on we're working on it. We're going to review both her books very, very soon. We're going to try to get both books, read up on the books, and then, let me say this with all the pride I can muster. As someone who hasn't met Farida yet, I like to say this. She's very busy, okay, living her best life. So when she has a little
Yeah.
time for us, hopefully she will make room for us in her life. I like that Farida created space for herself in this world, and it is no small space. It is not a little corner
Yeah.
in the dark. It is a big bold beacon of hope, and not only
Yeah.
hope for people living with challenges in their bodies. This is hope
No,
for each and every one of us. If Farida
everybody.
can do, oh, absolutely. We all can do it. And when I say if, it's not that she couldn't
Exactly.
do it, it's because she did it with everything that was against her. Now, the beautiful thing that Auntie Lydia did, again, that you have to get the book, is she put pictures in the book so you see what Farida had to go through. Okay? She put pictures at the end of the book. You guys just have to get the book to see the detail of the things that Farida had to go through right from jump. Okay? And with all of that, her brain did not get left behind. So of course we can do it. We all can do it. Auntie Lydia, what
Everybody
are you?
can do it.
Everybody can do it. My last question, well, two questions for the last. What are you doing now? And yeah, let's. How about you answer that? What are you doing these days? Of course, you're helping Farida in little things, and I say little things because you've helped her so much. She's become very independent and doesn't necessarily need you 24 hours in a day. So, what are you doing personally right now?
I'm now taking care of myself. I've retired. I used to have the book Nosu Ari and all, but
Uh-huh.
I've retired now, and so
Oh,
I'm home.
wow. So
Yeah,
you're home and you're just you're just chilling and just hanging with us and
I'm taking
things.
care of myself. Retirement isn't what is cut out to this, and I didn't realize you'll be so idle and you have to plan things into your life. So that I go to the gym 3 times a week, and then I do my. I told you my Tuesday is taken, Monday,
Yes.
Tuesday, Wednesday
Mhm.
taken, Friday and Thursday I have prayer meetings. I go to and all. So those are the things
Wow.
I'm doing. My days are occupied. Yeah.
Wow. You know what? Let me just put it out there and kind of is kind of like I'm not prophesying because I'm not a prophetess or anything, but I think maybe your days are also going to start getting even busier because I think it's time for you to get busy with putting this into film form. And we don't know where the money may come from, but I put my hands up, and I know a lot of people onto my younger self. Shoot, we might actually do a GoFundMe or something. Let's fund this thing through the world, and I don't know. Let's get a movie going, and maybe not. Maybe you have to be our script consultant, and we do it that way. There's so many comments coming on here. Let's see. Auntie Lydia, in hindsight, would you have chosen a different walk? This is another question for you.
No, I love the path I've been on. I mean,
Wow.
it's changed my life, and it's made me a better person. I mean, purposeful, and because before, in I mean, we were quite flighty. We Everything came to you. You didn't really think you have to struggle for anything, or I mean, life was just like a walk in the park before all
Mm,
this. You just put one foot in front of the other, and
wow.
everything. Yeah. So
Wow. So you would definitely, and I like that because that tells you you have lived a very good life. You have, you would choose this over and over and over again.
yeah, because I
And
don't want a purposeful life is what I would love to live. I don't want
mm,
an empty life where glossy things and everything is, a meaningless. This was a molded life, and
mm,
I often get the opportunity to.
wow. Wow. This is incredible. Wow. And I think you may have answered the last. My question was, what would be the last thing you would like to tell us as we end our conversation today? So you may have answered it already, but you can answer it
Yeah.
again. What is the last thing you want to tell people, or just me, or just anyone that's watching? What is your advice to them about life in general?
Life throws different those things at you, and you shouldn't. I mean, when people say, "I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that," I look at them wistfully and think, "Oh, if only you know the plans life has for you," because all of us, we have no idea what the next 5 minutes is going to be. We just and pray. So we should live it
Mm.
conscientiously, purposefully, with,
Wow.
I mean, I live as if tomorrow doesn't come, I won't be disappointed.
Mm.
So I live the whole life every day. That's the thing. I don't live anything. I don't leave anything for tomorrow. tomorrow, and one day at a time, I have understood it to the letter. What needs to be done today, let me do it.
Wow. Wow.
And postpone it, procrastinate, or anything.
Wow. Wow. Foster is watching us from Yonkers, New York. Hey, Foster, how are you? He says, please, what do you mean by empty life? Thanks. We're trying to end the show, and now it's beginning again.
I mean, empty life is going day by day and going with the flow, and whatever gives you, you kind of take it in. I mean, there has to be a purpose to your life. There has to be but you have to figure out. I don't know whether, Pastor, you have a family or something. Having a family and paying attention to your family, paying attention to their everyday needs, not financially or whatever, but the care. If there are children, let your children know that you are there for them. I want to tell you that don't say I'm busy, come in 5 minutes time. Drop what you are doing. Give the child the 2 minutes or 1 minute he or she needs from you, and you see how your relationship with your child will change for the better. Attention to their needs. That's all. You are the best part of all. If you leave it and you brush them aside, they will find somebody else, and that will not be good. And all your work will be empty. And I will say that you come into this life, you build houses and things. I saw a friend of mine's house razed to the ground because the daughter wanted to do something else.
Wow.
Life you never lived. It's as if you never lived, And it was so disheartening that the building, and then you realize buildings and all those things, they are mean. But if you invest that one in your child is there for posterity to see that you came into this world and you left this behind.
It's something. Wow.
And those of us who are old, me, I'm on the 7th floor, so it's not a question of.
I do not believe that part. I do not believe that part. You cannot be on the 7th floor.
I am 73.
Oh my God. Look at that beauty and that grace. Wow. Oh,
it's just
God bless
a
you.
gift. It's a gift. That's all.
I know they say black don't crack, but I also think that it's a mixture of not only black, it's also a mixture of love and a lot of patience, and of course the mercy of God.
Mercy of God. Never forget that.
Yes.
Never forget that He's merciful. He's been very merciful, gracious.
Wow. Oh yes, and see, a lot of people are saying, "Wow, 73, 7th floor for the where you are sweet 16." Dodu says, "Wow, you are beautiful." Oh my God, Rachel, I have to connect you at some point with Auntie Lydia because I know you might get a lot. Rachel is a pharmacist who is,
she's on Facebook, so she can.
Yes,
we can connect on Facebook. She's on Facebook.
Yes, connect with her because I think you can consult with her on a lot of the natural medicines that you probably are working on. They like to, Rachel's company, RD Collections. They're not only doing body butters and sprays and all kinds of things. They're also healing people, but in the natural way.
Okay.
Of course, they're studying regular medicine, but doing it the way they're doing it out here in America, I know it's not only challenging, it's hard. And sometimes you need people like Auntie Lydia in your life because they've lived it properly. So they know when they tell you this works, it works, And this is why we're doing To My Younger Self. We want people to kind of get together and help the African community as best as we can so that when we are gone, they will say, this is what this person left. So Auntie Lydia is not only leaving Farida and Aisha, she's leaving a legacy of African giants all over the world. Elsie included, myself included, a lot of people. You guys, this is what she's leaving. Every time Auntie Lydia shares her story, the world gets to know more, not only about the African spirit of resilience, but about the resilience of a woman, period, and the resilience and mercy of God, most importantly. Auntie Lydia,
Yes.
what an honor. What an honor.
Zoe,
I have done
thank you.
very well not to cry today. So, yeah.
I've enjoyed our chat.
Oh, I'm so glad. I remember saying, just let's take it easy and just go through the book. No hard
Yeah.
questions, just having a conversation. I am
Exactly.
so
That's why I told you I'll just say I'm happy to be myself and not have a preconceived any notion about anything and no questions in advance or anything. So yeah, it was good. Very good.
What an honor, guys. What do we say to Auntie Lydia? I want you to put it in the comment section. Let's say thank you to her. Let us put more blessings and a lot of words of blessings upon her and put it in the comment section so she can read it later. We thank you for joining us, Auntie Lydia. Today, we're not going to do our regular closing. We're just going to close off and say we have been just kind of talking and reviewing this incredible book, The Unconventional Mother, How I Nurtured My Daughter with Disability into a Global Leader. We're going to put the link on Amazon on here. Producer Elsie, if you can help me with that, please. Thank you very much. We'll put it on there. So it's just one click and you can go into Amazon and buy it. And we'll do the same with Book Nook in the comment section. Please, please, please. You have to get this book. If you've read it already, get 3 more and just give it out as gifts. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Everyone you gift this to will come back to you and give you a blessing even more because of the nuggets that are in here. Okay, and after you read this book, you will definitely know that you can survive anything when God is in it with you. Okay? Auntie Lydia, so much love for you. We thank you. Thank you for joining us today. And with that, from Auntie Lydia and myself at the studio, though it is virtual, we want to say have a wonderful rest of the day. And we will see you next week with another episode of To My Younger Self with another person. All right? Auntie Lydia, so much love. I will talk to you on the flip side.
Okay. Bye.
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 Kaja Israel, Kaba Egypt, Kaja Ethiopia, Kaja Sudan, Waja Shong. Kaja Ikushima, Wanime Kona, Me Waja Shong. So Timbuktu, Ghana, Mali, Sumanguru, Waja Shong. Waja Jagay, Waja Shong. Manchester, no Sumanguru, walk where they get, what you're showing. What's that to do?